Okay, we are now live on Facebook. So welcome everybody to Love Speaks Love. I'm your host, Denise, and today's very special guest is Sasha Grace. And Sasha, I'll let her do a big introduction herself, but she is an intuitive artist. She's a singer. I'm very good at both of those two, like off the charts. And she's also an extraordinary healer as well. So let's just take that back to there. Okay, just bringing you in now, Sasha. I'll unmute you first. So you might just need to, it'll just ask you to start your video. Welcome.
Hello.
So,
hi.
If you want to just, I know so many people will know you, but if you do want to just give yourself a little, whatever you want to say about yourself.
Oh, I'm not good at that. Can you give me some specifics? Throw something at me.
So do you want to? Yeah, it's hard to know because your artwork is just incredible. You're singing too. But we'll maybe move more into those later. Do you want to just share something about the healing work that you do?
Sure. Yeah, okay. So the work that I do now is has evolved into basically being able to see through bodies. So I am designed now to be able to clear any distortions that are happening within someone's field, anything that's creating separation. And that could begin by me, clearing any implants or entities or anything that are in the way of that person actually serving, in their highest good. And then what happens now is I will tend to go into reading specific meridian points. And in those meridian points, I get to see the trauma, different periods of trauma that have happened to someone through their childhood, and where they've created beliefs and identities that keep them hitting the same walls, creating the same loops. So, for example, if someone has I'm unlovable, or I'm not enough, or I don't trust anyone, I don't trust myself, they'll continue to create those patterns. And I see that as the reptilian matrix that we have had impinged within our freedom for thousands and thousands of years. So my design and everything that I have lived through in this lifetime has taken me to a place where I'm able to do that. And now the way it works is I write everything I find down. So it could be like 30 to 50, say, beliefs and identities. And identities are really interesting. I'd love to talk about those a little bit later. And then I will go in, because I work with a team. I have an amazing team, and I'm also doing light language at the same time with my avatar self, who I've spent a year now merging with. She's 12-foot Lemurian being. Queen. She's actually a queen. And then I'll be showing the core belief. So I call that the root of divine. And I will take my client through a process. Now, this is where they step in. This is where they come into the process, and I hold the space for them to be able to allow themselves to remember their knowing, right? So that means the creation begins to wake up, and then they get to explore what that is and feels like via me holding space. Now, this is where they do the work, and it's extraordinary. Every single person, innately has this divine knowing. So in that, the creation will be woken up, and it will be switched off. And with that creation itself, all the other beliefs, i.e. basically the core of the matrix, will get switched off in front of me. So when that happens to them, what happens to me, because I'm shamanic, is and I'm taking them on as a surrogate, it goes through my body in rushes, and it's divine experience. I watch my clients go back to a space of love, a space of liberation, a space of joy, within a 2-hour session. So and then there's obviously a process over the following months where there is a goes on with them learning to walk in the world without that without those walls, without that looping. The process consists of a shifting of the neurons of how we speak to our child, how we speak to our inner child, and really choosing to repattern ourselves back to becoming our own parenting that child and loving that child, so the child can power up and become what we have been born through for, without this agenda keeping us small. So yeah, that's my work.
Amazing. Thank you for that. I resonate with a lot of that. I think so many of us at the moment in our work are dealing with core beliefs, and as you say, the inner child is so key, because so many of our beliefs drop in childhood as well.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go back to that in a sec, a little bit more about your work, but I'm going to just do you want to share it? Have you had a chance to share it out?
I've just shared it on my page. I haven't shared it to any groups. I should probably do that, right?
Yeah.
Let's
do that, and then I will I'll do a little heart connect as well, because this platform for me of Love Speaks Love is about us really being in our heart space and speaking from the heart. And one of my dream is that more and more people get in touch with their own hearts, so that they can live from their hearts, make their decisions from their hearts, speak from the heart. So I will do that in just a second.
Beautiful. 1 second, I will be with you.
No problem.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Okay, so I invite us to just close our eyes, and if anyone wishes to place one or both hands on their heart space in the center of their chest, and breathing in love, and breathing out anything of the day so far, or the day ahead, or the week. Allowing ourselves to put down any burdens that we've been carrying. And bringing ourselves into this now moment. And bringing our awareness to our heart space. And sending love out from our hearts. So connecting all of our hearts together. All of our hearts together on the live, on the replay, and on YouTube. And connecting our hearts to the heart of Gaia, the heart of the sun, the heart of the moon, and the heart of Source Creator. And visualizing that coming down from Source is a beautiful golden cylinder of light. And that cylinder of light is coming down through the cosmos into Earth's atmosphere and down to where you are. And the cylinder of light is surrounding your physical body. So when you breathe in, you can breathe that golden light into your heart, into every cell of your body. And the cylinder goes all the way down to the crystal diamond heart of Gaia. And just feeling to visualize roots growing down from our coccyx and our feet, growing down within that golden cylinder of light, deeper and deeper down, all the way down to the crystal heart of Gaia, connecting with the new earth templates and the crystalline grid of energy. So feeling fully anchored in our physical bodies, with our awareness in our heart space, as together we create a beautiful web of light and love all around the planet. So taking a few more deep breaths and opening our eyes if they're closed whenever you're ready. So how did your, and thank you for coming so late as well. We were finding it a bit tricky to find a time that was good for both of us. So thank you. I know it's 9:30 where you are. So thank you for being present at this time.
Look, I'm a musician and an artist, so that should say it all.
So the late nights are probably a bit easier than early mornings.
Generally.
How did your work with how did your healing work begin? Like, was it part of your journey? Was it part of your own healing journey that you came across certain modalities? And what kind of, because my feeling is that a lot of us do many different modalities and we don't always focus on one. It's like we bring aspects of many and then create our own. And plus, once we open to our own intuition, we get given new tools as well. So I'm curious how you came to be doing the work that you're doing. What kind of brought you to this point?
Well, just really having a childhood that was very cold and very lonely. And starting from, I think by 13, I started I had my first death wish, right? So I didn't want to be here from 13. And I was really alone. I was really on my own. I wasn't, the family I was born into it wasn't a nurturing place to be. And so, I mean, look, it's kind of like, okay, which bit do I choose when you ask that question? Because there's so much, It's like, oh, where do I choose to go there? So, my father popped into my life. He wasn't really around. He left when I was about 9, and he became an esoteric healing teacher. And then he popped into my life at about 13, and he said, "I think you are ready." And he hands me this book by Shakti Gawain, which was Creative Visualization. And that meant that I could escape what was going on, because it was not fun for my childhood. And I could go into these worlds where I was not being bullied. I was bullied. So I could go into these places where I basically could visualize my safe place, my beautiful place by the beach and my cave and my crystals. And so that was the first book. And then I did Louise Hay, and these were all like when I was 14, a teenager, and I was going to school saying I love and approve of myself a billion times, because really I'd become, because of how I'd been treated. Well, that's, I was so paranoid by that stage. I used to have panic attacks and could barely leave the house. And then I was given singing lessons, and which I am so grateful for, from my mother. And these singing lessons, the technique itself was so profound that it transformed my level of confidence, and it completely transformed me. And I'm going to be, actually, while everyone's going through lockdown, when I move out of this house and have better Wi-Fi, I'm going to be offering this technique up for people, because it is so profound. It opens so much of all the different chakras. Plus it brings all your energy into your core. It takes all of the attention away from the head and it brings it into the core, and people get not just incredible voices very, very, very quickly, but their consciousness expands in the most incredible way. Their confidence just booms, and what's happening is they are beginning to nurture instantly the core self, which in that core area we've got the mother energy, so we've got the spleen chakra, and we've also got the child. So those two get to finally get to via sound get this healing, and the sound goes all through the body and heals. And yeah, so I took that on as a career for a good 16 years, and that was my thing. And I was doing workshops and all sorts of stuff. And then I got to a point where something else was knocking at my door, and I just was ready to do something else. And this work, okay, so all right, so 15 years ago, by accident, nothing is accident though, I was doing this chakra meditation, and I'd been doing this for a couple of years. And then when I hit my crown chakra, basically this time was different, right? So I'd been doing this for years. So I hit my crown chakra. It was a very, very big time for me. My dad was about to die. He was dying. I was about to go back to Greece to say goodbye to him. And anyway, I hit the crown chakra. My hands distorted like this. My mouth distorted upwards, and my whole body began to shake. And when I stood up, it was still vibrating like this. And I was 12 foot tall, right? So I was the Kiara Kora, who I've since then embodied in full embodiment in different ways since then. And now I've learned about who she really is. She's Lemurian, queen. Huge. So she is my origination. She's my starseed origination. And so from then on, I went on a very bizarre journey of discovering what the hell was going on, trying to figure out what the hell just happened to me. So that was like my whole body was doing that for a good, 40 minutes. And then I went to Greece, and then I said goodbye to my dad. He died, and then I came back and I moved to Greece, and I spent quite a bit of time in Greece. And my first session that I did was on a boyfriend I was seeing there. And what happened was I was doing Seishim, which I had channeled into me. Seishim is the feminine of Reiki, and I had this pendulum, and something said drop the pendulum, so I dropped it, and this frequency started coming through my hands. I could see through his body. I was seeing colors flying everywhere. At the same time, I had huge amounts of information coming through at once, like huge amounts of information, and it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing being in that experience. That was my initiatory experience of what I was able to do. And then what preceded that was we walked to the beach, and he was very different. He was completely seeing life in a completely different way. He was like, wow, everything looks amazing. And and then we got to the beach, and I just literally nearly fainted, because what I'm seeing is this beach in Greece with everyone playing rackets and stuff, and colors, all different colors are bouncing off everyone. There was like blues coming off the ball, and there was greens and pinks and violets and blues coming off the sea. And so this was my initiation healing session, right? And so from then on, it's just been a journey of discovering. And as you said, acquiring new tools. So I combine what I do with kinesiology. So I get my clients to self-test. So we literally went, after I write them all down, then the beautiful part about it is we will balance the body so that the indicator muscle works. The indicator muscle, when you're doing kinesiology and you're self-testing, you're just using this, right? And you basically say, body, give me a yes, body, give me a no, right? So then we'll go through all the beliefs that I've written down. Now, if that belief is live in the body, it'll test yes, it'll test strong, right? Okay. I'm also fine for myself to be wrong. But generally, they all test strong, the ones that have come through. And then when we switch that core belief off and they all switch off, we also then go and test, and we can test that they all go, no, and they've all switched off. And that's like the big moment for my clients where they kind of can't believe it, right? This is not just patterns that they've held on to for one lifetime. These are thousands and thousands and thousands of years of patterns that go through the bloodlines of the matriarch and the patriarch. So all of this work has come through via my own work on myself, obviously. I've cleared all my depression now. I've cleared all my chronic fatigue now. I still have this thing that I was talking about on my last live. It comes up as a bit of a rash on my head, but it used to come up as a frequency of being under attack, right? So it was emulating what I had grown up with. And so I had to clear all the beliefs on that, so that now it just comes up as a little bit of a rash on my head. It still comes up, right? I still have to eat really good food and keep myself really healthy. But everything remains 0 point, because that's what this work does. So it keeps you at a 0 point space so you can remain in peace. You're not swayed by this or that. You're not getting triggered. You are holding space. You are holding a pure energy. You're holding a peace energy. And like, it all makes so much sense. Look what we're doing now, right? So we've been preparing for this time. We've been preparing this time to be warriors of peace, to hold the light at this time when there is multitudes of confusion. We have a huge, heavy timeline going on at the moment, right? And look at us light workers. I'm not on my own with this. Everyone has different ways of doing this. This is not the only way, right? It's a very, very big, powerful, incredible way, though. And now is our time. Now is our time. This is everything we have been preparing for. And I feel that for us to remember that and think of it in that way is a hell of a lot more inspiring than the other, right? Than freaking out. So, yeah.
Yeah, and we were saying before about when we both came on, like I feel a lot clearer now, but I've been feeling very foggy this morning so far. And I think that's partly the planetary. And it kind of feels heavy, but not heavy in a kind of sad way. It's just heavy from the weight of it all, rather than what the emotions that are held within the energy. For me, it just feels like there's almost a compression. It's
on the head.
like, yeah, really weighing down on us at the moment. And I think all of us that do this transmutation are just constantly transmuting at the moment, because so much fear is being presented, is coming out of people. And to me, a lot of this fear isn't even really anything to do with what's going on. We're actually purging the fear that our body is holding. And it's just that there is an external thing that we can kind of attach that to. But actually, it's a deep, deep purging of fear. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
So taking it away from present moment, because I totally relate to you. Today, I definitely, like we chatted. There's been very heavy energy. My head's felt very heavy. I've been exhausted. I've been, yawning. I was just saying before to Denise, guys, that I had to go and have a quick, 2-hour nap before I jumped on here. But yeah, definitely, we have the imprint in us. We have the reptilian brain in us. We have. I definitely noticed it within myself. Probably a couple of weeks back, I was going through. I was feeling it touch me, and then I was going vroom, and I was becoming it for a second, right? And the energy was very neurotic. It was kind of angry. It's intense. Like, it's really, it's not much fun in there, but beautiful on some level, because it's really getting us to learn about where our edges are, and to say, look, I choose not to go there. I choose love. I can see that that's playing out, right? And I want to be. I want this to be. I want this to be the time when I can step into the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm choosing to see this period of time.
Yeah. And it feels, I certainly felt like I had massive purge from about last October, really until a week or so ago, like really purging a lot of rage, a lot of the really heavier emotions that felt very, very deep in there, very, very ingrained. And I feel like a lot of us purged hugely to make us really quite clear in this now moment, like for this. And we are the ones that are kind of being the examples as well, you know, keeping the calm when all around is chaos. And that energy does permeate. It's catching, you know, it's like when you're in a happy space, people around you will pick up on that. When you're in a cloud, a black cloud, then people will pick up on that. And I think it's natural for us to feel fear as well at the moment. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not, all emotions to me are emotions. I've been dropping the word positive and negative, calling some of them heavier emotions, but to me, they're all around the heart. It's like they're all petals around the heart. And we're feeling all of them in order to get to the core, the deep love that's at the core. But in order to feel that, we have to feel the petals that are around it. Yeah, so it feels as well, and many people have said this, that there is a huge, this is part of the awakening. It's happening. And, you know, we've been looking at this for 20 years or so, you know, knowing that this is going to happen. And it's like, wow, it does feel like it actually is at the moment.
It's all on. It's all on. And yeah, fear is a funny one. Look, my journey of fear has been very interesting because I had so much fear from a young age, because I was so paranoid. I think about the age of 14, I started to understand that fear wasn't real. I had to, right? Otherwise, I wasn't going to make it. I had to get it. And I started to realize that fear wasn't real and that it was just made up in our minds. And once I really got that and embodied it, which tends to be how I work, I'll go through, you know, I've always been a little bit Buddhic. I'll go through almost like the Buddhist plane. I'll learn something, learn one extreme and the other, and I'll find the middle ground and I'll go up. And this is, I feel, how many of us have evolved. And I went through a realization, as of many layers of skyscrapers used to come off me in specific epiphanies, because there was so much heaviness I was carrying because of what I grew up with and how I was treated. And the fear, what happened to me was it left completely. So I didn't experience fear. I had about 8 years or more where I never experienced fear. I don't really say this because I remember saying this to someone, a man, and he got so angry at me and so offended. And he said, "How could you say that? Who do you think you are?" And he got really angry at me. And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay. I'm just going to back that one out. I'm really not interested in treading on toes by speaking about my experience, you know. I don't, yeah, I tend, yeah. So I think for me, life has been intense. The reptilians have, sorry to talk about them, but I feel like it is time to talk about them because they're leaving, right? So not to give it too much energy, but I was under attack all my life. And all my life I was under attack on every level, and I had to fight through. And I was under attack by them in my gut, in my dreams, in everything I did. By about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was time. I would feel it come on, and I could feel this energy trying to get me to take my life, right? So battling with that for a very long time, and then getting to the point where I realized that I mean, I used to take these guys off all the time, right? And they also got very clever. And so this is the whole cabal thing. What they've been doing is they've been putting sprays in our food, in our air, on our wheat, right? Look at wheat. Look at that. Let's just talk about that for a second. So wheat has had Roundup sprayed on it via Monsanto, which is, you know, cabal owned, right? So what happens with the wheat? You eat the wheat. And I got shown this many years ago, at least 10 years ago. I had a lot of downloads. They were showing me the whole thing. You know, my galactics are with me, working with me, and basically you know, this thing that I have that comes up, that would come up on my head, was all based on that. And it came up as an energy. It came up as a like, I'm under attack and I want to leave the planet. Right? So it began to become very obvious that they were getting me. Plus I'd seen them. Plus one jumped on my car, one jumped into my body. I literally saw it visually. And the journey I've had to go on there is to really remember that, however, you know, in the past, because they're old news now, right? They're leaving, which is how we, you know, when talk about it, let it go. This is not, we're not bringing fear into this live, right? That's not what this is about. But was to really understand that, thank them, you know, for the lesson, that was an opening that I had allowed, right, for them to come in, and love them. Okay, well, now when you love them, they have no power because they feed off fear. So remember this, you know, guys out there, everybody, I love you so much. So remember this, they feed off fear. Okay, and this is how they're trying to get us at the last minute. Don't let them. We are way, way, way more powerful than that. And we have not gone through what we've gone through to be succumbed to this thing. Okay, we are so much stronger and so much more powerful than that. Yeah, so I wasn't saying okay to you. I was getting into my group like mode where I was talking to, you know, people. Anyway, yeah.
And I feel as we're moving into unity consciousness as well, that we're moving into that space of we more as well. That for me, I'm more in the space of recognizing that I've been all things, that we all hold the light and the dark, and that there is no separation as well. And more, because, you know, I always used to want to get rid of my pain and whatever it was, whatever heavier emotions, you kind of just want to get them out of your body. Whereas now I'm bringing them into my heart. It's like, as you say, to love them. It's more about that there is no separation as well, that they are, everything is an aspect of us within our hologram. And really, yeah, just to bring them into your heart, to bring everything into the space of love.
Yes, very much so. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you know, just to follow on from that, so, you know, beliefs begin from judgment. You know, again, judgment was a part of that level of control that we've had impinged upon us. Right? We were all love beings. We didn't have all this separation before. We're coming back to that. That's what we're coming back to now. This is an incredible time. So the beliefs always begin with judgment. So you can recreate that judgment by watching how we judge others, and then you know, all of a sudden you've got that separation going on again, or you can choose to observe the judgment of what you're saying to that person. For example, you know, I find you, what is it? Let's pick something. You know, I find you egotistical, or I find you arrogant, or whatever it is. You know, it's such a beautiful lesson, whatever that judgment is that we happen to have, because it will always be the same judgment we're putting back onto ourselves. And for me, with this work that I do, it's beautiful because it all comes back to the belief, right? So the moment you find that belief, you go, oh, that's what that belief is. Right, I am arrogant. Okay, right, so I'm just going to discreate that. And speaking of arrogance, I had to do all of that because I've had a lot of lives as a queen, as a leader, right? I had to shift all the identities, and this is where we come back to identities, that were carrying some level of separation where I was putting myself above people. I wasn't in, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we have had all through over the thousands of years. This is who we were, right? So the whole point now of this time is to clear all that shit, excuse my French, so that there isn't any separation. So I am you, you are me, yeah. And we are in this together. And, you know, when you get to that point, you really can see it playing out in people so easily. You know, you can see it so much. It becomes very clear. But also, when you've been through that transformation, you can have so much more compassion for what's playing out in them rather than judge them for it, because you've been through it too.
Yeah. And the beliefs are really interesting because we can hold completely diametrically opposed beliefs as well. You know, we can hold the exact, because they're held on so many levels, we can hold completely conflicting beliefs that are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So it's no wonder that our body doesn't quite know which way to go in that, because it's working off this belief system, but it's also working off this one. And bringing it to the still point as well, instead of the extremes, bringing it to the point of neutrality. And this was my feeling as well. This still point energy feels to me like we're in that at the moment. It feels like the space between the breaths. It feels like the space between the tick and the tock. And that's kind of what we're moving into at the moment. This space of kind of, it's the pause, the kind of, and then your breath's held before you breathe out again.
Beautiful way of putting it. Yeah, definitely. And everything's getting the chance to breathe. Mother Nature's getting the chance to breathe.
Yeah.
We never would have thought that this would ever be possible, for everything in the world to stop. I mean, that's going on. Like, really? Is that really happening? Is this a dream? So just in regards to what you were just saying before, it brings me to just when you were saying, there's that, you can act out two ways. So that brings me to what I was talking to you before about identities. So I'd love to just talk about that for a second, if that's okay. So let's just talk about narcissism, right? It's a touchy subject. I get it. I know, and that's okay. But narcissism, everyone is capable of that energetic, and so I'd just love to talk about what that is for a second, and from my own work and from on myself, but my own work on my clients. So when someone has a belief, so say that the belief is, I'm just going to give an example. So the belief is, I'm unlovable, right? Now, what's happened in the past is we have been so shamed for holding trauma, right? We've been shamed for feeling on our own, like lonely, or unlovable. You look at what kids do to each other at school and how much kids get shamed. If they're not feeling strong and powerful that day, they'll get picked on and bullied. We live in, it's been a cruel world we've been brought up in. So there's so much shame in so many emotions, and for many of us, not just men. I know men have been very, feel very ashamed of their emotions, but for most of us, and of course, the parents haven't helped, because the parents have followed that, and then they've shamed us too without realizing that they're continuing the pattern. So say someone's got the belief, I'm unlovable, and then so we'll go in and we'll clear that belief, but alongside that is an identity that is going to protect them from feeling the shame of that. Now that identity itself is going to hold its own belief, right? And identity has designed, that we design them ourselves to protect us. So we create them to protect us from feeling the shame of feeling unlovable, right? And that identity itself will have its own belief. So, for example, it will go, its belief might be, I'm all alone, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm all alone is going to protect them from being out there with people and feeling loved, right? You get me? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's going to have two parts of itself acting out. It's going to have I resist being all alone, and I desire being all alone. So it's going to be acting out what it is to resist being all alone. So how might someone act that out? I don't want to be alone, so I'm going to pull people in and I'm going to manipulate them to come my way. So identities are always highly manipulative, right? They're narcissistic, and they won't see what they're playing out because they have been designed to protect themselves from, they're all that protection. So you can't see them, right? You're veiled from seeing it. So you're going to play this game out where you are going to push love away and pull love towards you. Essentially, love is never going to come to you. It's always about love. So you would be resisting being all alone by pushing people away maybe and doing certain things. You would be desiring being all alone, and that's more the victim aspect. That's when you go into that, oh, I'm all alone. No one loves me. You guys can all go away. And you might create situations where you just want to hermit and be on your own and no one to be near you. And, you might push people out, you'll be manipulating people. Everyone's different with what they do in those things. So when I work with people, we look at all of them. Generally, many different identities will come up at once, and beliefs. Then we switch those identities off by really looking at each aspect, and then we switch them off. And it's the same with the beliefs. So if you look at narcissism, right? So narcissism, something I've observed of narcissism, and I am because I did get brought up with it. You've got this human that is creating this sort of I'm always right energy, and you're wrong. Okay, you're wrong. I'm always right. And I am going to manipulate you. I'm going to push you and pull you, push you and pull you. It's very much narcissism. It's got a whole, we can go on about this for a long time. I'll just keep it as simple as possible. And so basically when, sorry, my mind has just gone blank for a second. Just give me a second. I just went blank. I was on such a roll. 1 second. So yeah, so basically what I've noticed about, let's just say narcissism, someone who's really in the narcissism, which is like a whole pile of those identities, they've got this I'm always right thing, right, and you're always wrong. Now, why do they have that? Because I tell you why. They are holding so much shame for having trauma that they feel wrong for having trauma. You understand what I'm saying? So what they will do is they will resist I'm always wrong, and they will put it on you as to you're wrong. They'll project that onto you, and they'll resist that by saying I'm always right, right? What happens? They can't see beyond those protective identities because I've just explained why, right? Yeah. They're set about to protect you from seeing themselves. Now, in that field of identities is where the reptilian energy can hang out and run those people, right? Because they are not in the conscious mind with what they are playing out. Mm-hmm. So they can be, they can be run, right? Which is so this whole experience that we've been doing is all about taking our power back, bringing ourselves back into our own sovereignty that is ours, right? That is ours. Everything that I am now, I have created myself, because that was taken off me. I was paranoid. I couldn't even leave the house. I had to build that up all by myself with no love given to me. I had to parent myself. I had to parent that child that was so tortured. And for what? And that's the question I've asked so often. For what? Well, because the force of love and holding space and being in service for others is so powerful and holds such a great reward of present fulfillment that, I have no words to describe that reward. And I feel that we're all going to be greatly rewarded in this time right now. The ones that have been doing that work, it's our time now.
Yeah. And it's a really, it's a very clever creation to show us the areas in ourselves that are not loved, that we don't love. So it's a beautiful co-creation between us and what we perceive as the outside world, to bring us fully into the place of love and show us those aspects of ourselves, those areas of ourselves that are not loved, that are not in that space of love. It's all about coming back to love.
It's all about love. Yeah, it's all about love. And all of the other stuff hurt. Like even the narcissist is just a human that is hurt, that is hurt, that feels rejected from love, and they're treating themselves like that. So they treat others like that. So it's all about love. So we can have so much more compassion for these individuals when we really understand it.
Yeah.
And you might say, well, why would I want to have compassion for someone like that? Well, because whatever is causing you disharmony internally and swaying your inner peace, you want to look at that, because our ultimate selves needs to be inner peace. That's what we're here for. That's our destination. If you don't have your destination, get one. Right? Otherwise, you're just going to be walking around lost. You know?
I think that was a beautiful explanation of narcissism, and a beautiful, I think for many people hearing that, it'll just drop in fully. It's a real, that the explanation that you gave there is a real aha moment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because I think that's one of the biggest ones. And so many of us kind of don't get it. We judge the narcissist because we don't get it. But what you've put forward there is a real clear way for us to just kind of go, and we're much more compassionate when we're in that space as well. When we understand it, we're much more compassionate. Now, I wanted to, so we were talking earlier about doing a chakra meditation, perhaps. And also, I kind of want to bring the dragon energy in a little as well. And just want to, if you would share some, whatever you feel to share about your experience with dragon energy, how that's kind of been for you. And then I feel after that will lead into a chakra meditation. And I don't know if you want to do some singing with the meditation, whether to combine those two. How does that feel?
Different.
If it doesn't feel right, we
yeah, well, look, let's just see. I don't know, like we came onto this call and I said to Denise, I don't know which one to do. Do I sing a chant, or do I sing one of my songs, or do I do a meditation, or it's just sort of, do I do a singing lesson, because there's also that option. Yeah, look, how about I just, it's funny, we're so in present moment at the moment, and I'm just really in divine flow. So let's just go with it from moment to moment, completely uncommitted, if that's okay with you. So yeah, so the dragons. So they okay. So I had an experience with someone who I had a very strong connection with. It feels very twin flame, and where I was turned, it was probably now maybe about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago. Just random, yeah. We had some LSD actually, and I was told that night that I was going to have a very, very big purge. The words came through very strongly. They said, "You are going to have a very big purge." And I was like, right. And at that point I was laughing. I was like, okay, it's gonna be fun. I was kind of in that stage. Completely forgot that I get, if that I turn into a galactic being when I do that sort of stuff. I totally forgot about it, because generally I do. And then all of a sudden I'm standing in my living room and I am seeing death. I'm seeing a woman, and she's dying and she's rotting, and she rotted into nothing. And I had to go into her. I had to completely surrender into this rotting woman. That's just what I was being shown to do. So I did, and I just stood there and I went, oh, I'm not going to repeat the swear word I used. So, and then what preceded that was I turned into a portal of divine love for 5.5 hours, where my whole body shook like this, and I got slammed through my higher heart by divine love for non-stop 5.5 hours. So it was like this, right? My body was doing that for 5.5 hours. I have never experienced anything like that. Now, this beautiful man was in front of me, and while it was happening, and basically what happened was there was a series of different, all the different leaders, like the highest leaders in the Galactic Confederation started coming through me. Now, I've gone up to have many meetings in the Galactic Confederation as Kiara Quarter. So it wasn't new to me, but this was new to me because these guys were enormous, right? The slamming of energy that was going through my higher heart that did not stop was exhausting. It was so huge for the human to take on. I had no idea that a human could take on that sort of frequency. Now, what started to happen was all these different leaders started to come out one by one, and they were all very different. They would come out and they spoke through me as this was going on. I was seeing ripples, because I was in these, and the dimensions just got higher and higher and higher. They were the dimensions, and that's what happens to me if I go into an embodiment of a huge, huge being. And the dragon was one of them. So that was really my first experience of the golden dragon coming through. The dragon, he was from a very high dimension, particularly this one. He was from the 12th dimension. And I know a lot of them come from lower dimensions, but he was from the 12th dimension. And so that happened, and then the last one came through, and all that, what happened was that vibration that was happening to me became its own dimension. It's very hard to explain this, right? It became its own dimension, and it was so vast. All that came through was, it's the creator, and it came out of my mouth, it's the creator. Now, I was told I was turned into a portal of divine love and into the Holy Grail that night. And please, nobody put me above or below you, above you for saying this, right? It was an incredible experience, and I was told that it went straight through me and into the planet. Now, since then, the dragon has... just to finish that off, my human was freaking out because the energy was so intense, and I kept saying to him, I can't make it stop. I can't make it stop, right? Like, it was like 5.5 hours. It did not stop. It was endless, right? And he made it stop. And he's obviously very shamanic, still trying to learn that part of himself. He called it off, and he made that stop. So that was my introduction to the dragons. And then from then on, the dragon was coming through me a lot. And from what I've learned about them is, for me, what I've been learning is Kiara Kora is a part of the divine masculine. At that point, there was this real call for the divine masculine to really step up and sit on their thrones. And for some reason, I'm some sort of representative of that. Right? I'm still learning about that. And then the dragons also came through me when it came to when the fires were happening, and I did a ritual outside, and I found myself going, okay, I'm doing this ritual. I don't even know who to call. I don't know who to ask. You know, who's good for this stuff? Who's good for putting out fires? Like, who do I talk to about this? And then all of a sudden, I got shown, well, the water dragons are here, and I'm like, water dragons? I hadn't thought about that. So all of a sudden, the water dragons are there, and that was a whole different frequency. And then we brought that through, and we sent the water to a certain part of Australia that was being devastated by fires. And then the following day, it poured with rain. So in that area. So the one that's just been coming up through now for this time, because there seems to be different ones for different things happening on the planet, is the red dragon. So he's been the one that has been coming through the last few days. And he's very, very. I mean, look, they're an interesting one, aren't they? They have a depth to them. Mm-hmm. Some people might think they're scary, right? Because they're very powerful. But when you're channeling them, they're actually it's pure love as well as having that depth and that intensity.
Yeah. My experience as well, that it is just pure love when you connect with them. And I think, again, we've been conditioned to fear that dragon energy. And it also, to me, represents the divine feminine. It's the magic. It's the divine feminine energies that we've let go of. to me is represented in the dragon energy as well.
Wow. Okay. I love that because I haven't thought of it like that. So thank you.
Because they feel very masculine because they're so strong and so fierce. But actually, yeah, to me, they really represent the divine feminine as well. And I think, you know, that's why they were feared, because they are magic. It's not that they do magic, but they are magic.
They are guardians of the earth, and you know, they have recently awoken because they knew it was their time, and they knew it was their time to come out and do the work that we needed them. And they're from very deep in the earth. I'm getting a lot of goosebumps. Yeah, they were hiding for a very long time.
Yeah, kind of sleeping is the way that I view it. It's almost like they were asleep. And sometimes, because I've done quite a bit of work since I got back to the UK, awakening dragons, not so much recently, but kind of 3 years ago especially. And for the first couple of years, it was all about awakening them. And for me, the awakening, and whether or not they're shackled, you know, that's just part of the humor of it, really, because they may have been shackled, but they were asleep. So it didn't matter that they were shackled. And they were waiting for our energy to be of a certain level, a certain frequency, but more than that, for us to be more in our heart space, for them to awaken. That's to me what they've been waiting for. And when that energy, that planetary energy, hit a certain level, it was kind of like the alarm for them. It was kind of like the wake-up call for them. It's like, okay, here we are again. And to me, they are energy beings in the same way that fairies or angels. And the reason why people can't see them is because their frequency is higher than ours. So you might get flickers of them. But it's like trying to connect with the fairies. We need to be in our heart space, because they'll know that, and they won't offer themselves to someone who isn't in that space of love, isn't in that heart space. And for me, it's the same with the dragons as well.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. I love hearing, you know, how like our different coding holds different perspectives. And so I really appreciate that perspective, because I hadn't looked at, you know, a lot of what you said, I hadn't looked at like that. So thank you. My mind's just gone blanking. What is with this mind blanking stuff? Maybe we should just go straight into a bit of dragon. Oh, just briefly, can I just say, I just want to shout out to Gayatri. She's just such a beautiful human, and she does these beautiful dragon pictures. Anyone that hasn't seen Gayatri's work, Gayatri Singh, she's on watching at the moment. And I also wanted to shout out to TL, who is up at like 3:30 in the morning in America to watch this. So I just wanted to thank you so much for doing that. Like, that is just so beautiful, and really feel very honored that you've done that. Like, it's just very special. Thank you.
And Gayatri Singh just and to me, she you know, I think dragons, I think of Gayatri Singh, I think of Gayatri Singh, I think of dragons. And sometimes when I see the dragons, they're almost in the style that she creates them in her artwork as well. She came in just as we started talking about them.
Right. Perfect.
There's no coincidence to that.
I love how this works. Yeah, I love how this works. Amazing. So yeah, I'll see if this guy wants to come through. I might just bring him through a little bit, and I don't know if you want to do a bit of that. Maybe we can just do that for a moment.
Yeah.
Diakura nuora dioniha dore kia borai gona ye diero diamborai o diora diania diambonaria gonania Dora. He's saying we are here to rescue ourselves on the planet right now from the destruction of the earth. And this is what is happening. We are bringing ourselves into the unity. Everything that we've worked for. Everything that you have transmuted within yourselves, within your own hearts, within your mind, is now coming through into fruition. It is now time for the ones with the pure hearts to rise. This is not a half-assed mission now, beloveds. It is now mission on. We need you. Every single one of you are a part of the great plan of divine survival, divine life, divine freedom. We need you with your bravery, with your swords, with your mission. And we speak of swords. We talk about the energy of Excalibur. We speak about the energy of Merlin to bring through divine grace through this sword and honor each and every one of our hearts. Honor ourselves, beloved. This is our power right now. Honor yourselves, honor your heart. Walk through in the fire as the light that you are. You have got this. You have never before had this, more than ever now. You have been trained for this, every single one of you. It has never been simpler than now. We fight for freedom. We have already fought for freedom. This is what we have been doing, fighting for freedom. Now the freedom is coming upon us. It will be new like never before. You've never seen this sort of freedom before, beloveds. We love you. And with unity, you will hold strong with each other. You will hold strong with your hearts. You have got this more than ever before. We love you. We are working with all of you as earth angels. Choose to see us as your compadres. We are there with you. Call upon us and we will be there to guide you. You are not alone. It is safe. It is okay. Stay within your bounds right now. And remember to breathe. Breathe through wholeness within yourselves. This is the most important thing right now. Breathe through wholeness within yourself. Anchor yourself within the earth. Congregate as Divine Mother and Divine Father. Pull through Divine Father and Divine Mother. This will bring you your wholeness. This will bring you your protection, your pure energy from this virus that is coming through. We love you. Thank you.
Aratokum ist arat icham beketat orada ko Elichia at ut est orat Era himpert anta ko or at ast arat kiarat erat ut urata batata arat kust Nihia paratanta dat orat tiera korlanta dat padata kokust arat atatata. And just bringing through now black pearl dragon codes. He erat kumperalataton. I lay him padatatoret and the bucket lepacket just whole lera cococoish. I lay a tatototototototo. Elehim paralan do ost ara. I'm bringing this black pearl energy that contains these dragon codes through into our energy system from the crown all the way down the spine. Ere iam toto or data arat kust, hiame ere campor la parata to cup. Ere the catapata la packet la parata la packet la packet to parata. From throat to high heart to heart. Ere hiam bella critical liberate kutukistara to or to. Hey arat it arat to parata Haley here parata. Connecting the geometry between the throat, the higher heart, and the solar plexus. Hiere ki parata kadla paket tuksta parata kikudik parata okutakata. Hiale haratukula parakidla parakidukudist parata. Hiale artukula paratikidikidikudikudikada. And then kidla paratakudla parakidikidikudikudikada. And sacral. Hiale rakukurita parakadakust urtatatata. Eraki mandakadla paratikuduk paratakata. And our diamond womb space. Hiale heratukulle parakiti heat ust artatatata. Emmakarle parakudukudukust art ut at kust aratatot abart atata. Hiale roto hom palla ehratakan porat kest aratato ortam papa ist adada antolla parakitiki it ada. Elle horotokulla paratikitikitikitikitikita paratikitikitikitikitu holla ratakam pa ya ta. And connecting in with base and our connection to Gaia and anchoring these codes as well as in our physical vessels, anchoring them into the new earth templates and the heart of Gaia. Aralihim baratako barat ucht atatata emarataki barataki popopopoya. Ika and to rta atatata. So breathing deeply. Wow. Just gonna have a few sips.
Yeah, let's take a moment. Moments are always good. That was strong.
The black pearl dragon energy was something I connected with the other day when I went for a walk in the woods, and I'd done a light language activation, and felt the presence of this huge dragon energy, and it was like black pearl. That's how I can describe it. It was kind of almost that sheen that you get with a black pearl, and he was so huge. Me standing next to his foot, I was about the height of his foot, like not the length of his foot, but the height of his foot off the ground. And she actually was so tall that I could barely see her head.
Wow.
And gave me these black pearls, one black pearl, which I brought through all of my chakras and then placed in my womb space. So yeah, that's a lot of the energy that I've been bringing through since then. And a lot of it is to do with health and our breath as well. And our breath is our life force, and that's what we're like. That's what we're holding in. We're being invited, I feel now, to fully breathe and fully allow in that breath of life.
Yeah, it's very interesting, this whole virus energy, because it's all about breath. And it's really sort of emulating what people forget to do, is breathe.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
that feels better.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. They always kind of like, look, for me, when I channel, they come through, not so much the dragons, but generally the Arcturians, when they come through and they're so pure and light, and I burst into tears after, because their energy is so divine. Dragon is different though. It's very different energy.
Yeah.
It's not so much, maybe because they're not my kindred souls. They're just a part of what I'm meant to bring through. There's a different energetic to them altogether. It's quite a strengthening. It's a very warm. It's very intense. Whereas the Arcturians have more of a sorry, excuse me. I'm just wondering if they're just wanting to bring through something right now. Okay. So let me put the template back over. Okay. Right. So we may do a little bit. That's okay. I might see if they come through. So they've mentioned this before, but basically they want to put out templates for people for this virus, just to hold people in protection, which I've got on me, and I've sent it out to many people close to me. Yeah. So I'll just see what happens. Okay. Niaka tiaro kombor anya ya tiaria ko niera ambori anya ya ki yor ya niero kon anya hodanya hodakia. So right now, guys, I'm just asking you to tune into what's actually going on here. There is a template that is being placed, and it is a diamond template. Okay, what I'm seeing is the diamond template. So just breathe into this, because this is going out to everybody on the call. It's also going to be going out to everybody on the replay. Nania konia tiaro huataria tonia tiayembo hania katiero hotatia hiambor anya hianor anya hotakiamor ananya ye tor ambor anya. So this is going into the hearts now. Vatianor anya yangor amor anania tero konania hanya fiata. Deyor ianya bora anan deyor anya detianya iana kia tonia ania tatia. So we speak to the child now. We're speaking to the child that is scared. So this is where they're going. This is what they're speaking to now. Bora anya bora dea bora anya nia tatia gonia tatia. Nadia riakai tonia mon dadier ko nanya kon anya hadia kon nia dior anya dora anya dora. So what you believe is very important now, beloveds. Yanya gor anya dor. Everything is coming down to choice. Vatier anya nia dor. What you choose to create is now up to you. Vatia. You have had much preparation for this time. It is through divine grace and divine will that we will see you through into the most divine love and bliss through this time. So remember to expect this. This is very important, my loves. I understand that this is hard for you at this time to deal with this closing of your planet, this closing of things around you. It feels strange. It does not feel fed by love. I understand this. But you now hold that love. So you feed your own love to yourself, and then this will feed out to others. The power of one is magnanimous, and you have this ability to allow yourself to radiate. So allow this radiation. Understand your power, my loves. Understand how powerful you are. You've got this, but we have got you. We've got you. We are here for you. We are here for you, and we love you. Call upon us if you are feeling sad, if you are in pain or confusion. We will come to you and we will help you. Remember this, my loves. We love you. Stay safe. Be loved. Thank you.
Wow. What a beautiful way to end the call. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's been really, really lovely to connect with you, Sasha. Our energy's almost like kind of connected a little. We have a lot of the same friends in Byron, and it's kind of crazy really that we didn't connect more, but you get that sometimes in Byron Bay. So it's been really lovely to connect with you now. Thank you.
It's taken you to get all the way to the other side of the world for us to connect.
I know.
Thank you so much. So lovely to connect with you too. Thank you for having me on the show, Denise. I love what you're doing.
My pleasure.
I love that you're doing this. Great.
My pleasure.
It's very cool.
We'll do it again. And thank you as well to everyone watching the live, and everyone watching the replay, and everyone who's watching on YouTube. My head feels much clearer now. Yeah. Thank you, dear sister. Much gratitude.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Love you. Much love. And I'm just sending so much love to everybody out there. So much love. We're doing this. We are doing this. And every single one of us is got this. Every single one of us is powerful. And every single one of us has a mission here. Right? So now's the time. Now's the time for that mission. Love everybody. I love you all. Thanks so much, Denise. I love you. And thank you.
I love you too, sweetheart. Okay, I'm going to stop live stream. Thank you, everybody.